Tim, about that HomePod you guys just released? Good morning, Drew. I know you love it. For the low price of $350, you can now listen to your favorite Apple Music tunes. Yeah, it sounds good, but it'd be kind of nice if we could connect to it just via Bluetooth like every other speaker, and maybe if you're gonna have high impedance headphone jacks and stuff, we could have a direct plug-in for lots of different people's setups. If I could plug it in with my Mac and use very good ideas for our products, but I hear you. It's just we're gonna have to save that for a future generation. Okay, I guess I'll check back in 5 years. Tim. Oh yes, Drew? You like our new HomePods? The temperature checking sensor? Are you serious? Hey, some people that are dropping $300 on their smart speakers want to know about the humidity levels in their bedrooms. You're speechless, I can tell. Go on, enjoy the lower $299 price. You can thank me later. Oh, God. So as bizarre as Apple was for dropping the refreshed HomePod on us, it sounds like this is just the beginning of a bigger expansion into the smart home world, and personally, I'm kind of in favor of it, because I think that smart homes are in desperate need of things that Apple offers. Like, I've messed around with the smart outlets, the smart bulbs, the smart switches, and a lot of the issues come from so many different companies coming up with different protocols, and Matter is, trying to solve a lot of these problems, but it still doesn't solve everything, because sometimes you'll buy certain accessories from certain companies and it's supposed to really simply integrate into HomeKit, but typically you have to buy certain accessories that plug into your routers, and then some of those companies go bankrupt, and then you have to have firmware updates for your lights, and if they're not updating the software to support the newer standards, then sometimes your smart accessories just will stop working. And what Apple is really great at is just making things simple and intuitive. Ideally, sometimes they have a iPad 10 moment and you're like, what the heck? But Apple also, where I think could shine the best in the home, is software support. They are better than anyone known for supporting devices for many, many years past their competitors. It's very rare that you'll ever find an Android phone that's getting, 4, 5, 7 years of software support, or PC laptops that are getting updates like 7 to 8 plus years after you bought them. And I mean like real operating system updates, not just like pointless updates that crash your computer and do nothing. And that's what I think smart home accessories need. But this most recent report from Mark Gurman is more so talking about how Apple wants to expand on the hub devices, and he had some kind of weird ideas, and I can tell a lot of this is likely just like prototyping stages, basically sources telling him about the R&D going on. A lot of it probably won't turn into anything, but the first thing he mentioned is Apple working on like a cheaper iPad-like device that would specifically just be for adjusting your smart home settings. So my first thought is, wow, cheaper than the iPad 9? How cheap are we talking here? Like a $200 tablet? Based on his wording, I don't think this would be an iPad OS device. It sounds like something that would be running more so like a tvOS or Home OS potentially supported device that is good for adjusting temperatures, and now with the HomePod Mini and the larger HomePod supporting temperature checking or humidity checking, they may be able to adjust HVAC or climate settings based on being able to measure the different temperatures throughout your house. And he also said that this kind of tablet-like device would have magnets on the back so that it would be easily mounted to walls or wherever you wanted to put your basically smart thermostat, but probably more than just temperature changing device, so that it's easy accessible. And he also discussed devices that could help power your home but also have FaceTime built into them, which has always made sense to me, and there has been rumors about that in the past. It just makes so much sense, in my opinion, more sense than what Apple just did with the $300 HomePod, but going after the Nest Hub, something with a screen with a camera so that you can make video calls with a little tablet device that's always plugged in, but it also still has great audio quality, and it can play videos or give you recipes for hands-free usage. And also when someone rings the doorbell, the camera feed shows up on that screen. Nest has had a lot of success with those devices. Apple makes tablets, Apple has iCloud, secure home video, and HomePods already, so that type of device makes a lot of sense, and I could also see it being incredibly beneficial to like the elderly who don't want to fuss around with charging an iPad or understanding how to unlock it with a biometric in the home button and I got a slide to unlock and which app do I need. But no, if you just had a constantly plugged in device with a good speaker attached to it, and you could call the older people in your family and make it very simple and intuitive for them to just answer the call, and then they can see you and you can see them and you can talk back and forth without having to buy an entire iPad. So ideally that little hub would be like $300 or less, but knowing Apple, it probably wouldn't be that affordable. But Gerbman also did make mention of a new Apple TV being refreshed next year with a faster chip. Why the heck do we need a faster chip than the A15? Who knows? Maybe there's future generations of Apple Music Sing that just can't get by with the stupid A15 chip. It's so slow. We need those machine learning cores for Apple Music Sing to truly shine. But in my view, it's not too crazy to imagine like a smart hub device that maybe that's supposed to be cheaper than an even iPad 9, so you design it out of AirPod plastic, and it's not running iPad OS, but it has magnets on the back, and that allows it to wirelessly charge when docked with a smart speaker. That way it makes beautiful sound, and you can hear your loved ones when FaceTiming on it, but when you need to, you can pull it off the speaker and hold it elsewhere, or mount it to the wall if you want that to be where you change your HomeKit settings or thermostat or what have you. Basically, years ago, there was reference to Apple doing Home OS, and I still think they're kind of headed in that direction. And the $300 HomePod is a weird entry to the lineup, but that's why they're dropping it in mid-January. And Bloomberg's report is basically just saying that they have more to come, and as much as I would love for them to just build a designated TV, you know, with tvOS baked into it, it sounds like Apple, with their weird ways of designing monitors and screens, is just so likely to do the box instead and rely on third parties for the full screens themselves. I don't like that approach either, but if Apple doesn't want to go the TV stick route, which I've been saying they should for a long time, building a center stage camera into that Apple TV or combining the Apple TV with the HomePod would make a lot of sense, because right now, you know, I already have a HomePod and an Apple TV right beneath my television, and a lot of this silicon and a lot of their operating systems are behaving the same way. So in my view, and I've pitched this in the past, I think what would be great is to just have a center stage camera on that little dock, but design a super great sound bar with your HDMI port on the back so this whole thing can plug into the TV, and that way you have a sound system that's way more capable than just a regular $300 HomePod. And hopefully, you know, with your existing HomePods, you can turn those into surround speakers, but that bar can take over the TV stand, and when you get FaceTime calls, they can show up on the TV, and everybody can talk to whoever's calling on the television, and it can zoom in with a really high resolution sensor based on who's talking or who's in the room. Plus, you could accommodate for that camera with maybe Apple Fitness Plus workouts. I don't like Apple Fitness Plus, and I think that's a waste of time for Apple, but they seem to really like their own services, so maybe if you had a camera there, they could help tell you, like, oh, you're not doing this stretch properly, or you need to change your technique a little bit by using AI and machine learning, which requires the capability of the A16 or A17 chip, and that's why they would put this in the Apple Home Bar, I guess, and that would just become the ultimate entertainment device with great sound quality and a camera, which is helpful for FaceTiming and Apple Fitness Plus workouts potentially, plus that powers your whole Apple TV stand. So I'm curious to see where Apple takes it, but ultimately I still think if they want to get serious about the smart home stuff, they should really start making their own smart home accessories. Like, I would love to see Apple design their own smart switches or their own dedicated security cameras, because I've experienced so many different approaches, and I still think Apple would be the company that would get it better than anybody, especially with their AirPod style pop-up where you just hold the device nearby to the security camera or the switch that you want to use, and you just get a pop-up that says ready, and you just hit pair, and you don't have to download third-party apps or sign up to these third-party services. And of course, Apple with their software support would make them last a real long time. I'm hopeful that Apple can make something really competitive and really worth it, but what do you guys think Apple should do in regards to the smart home? Is it making a super cheap iPad looking tablet, or a home bar, or just slapping a camera onto the existing Apple TV? All of those thoughts, let me know in the comments down below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel on Tailosive Tech Pro. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see y'all in the next one.